Okay, this is Business 342, Workbook Lecture, page number 87. Problem: considering the following information. Here's the equity information: 50 million shares, $80 per share current, beta 1.15, market risk premium of 9, risk-free rate of 5%. That's all setting you up for the SML, Security Market Line, or CAPM, Capital Asset Pricing Model, way of pricing out RE. Debt information: $1 billion in outstanding debt face value, current quote 110. So that means you've got 1.10 times $1 billion. Coupon rate 9%, 15 years to maturity. I put this as really low. That was something from before. You can just ignore that. It means that it's 110% basically. This is basically another way of saying 110%. So you can scratch this out. And so this is right though, it's supposed to be $1,100 per $1,000 bond. Okay, so the tax rate, it says right here, is 40%. Okay, so what's the cost of equity? Okay, so from the equity information, you know that there's no dividends to speak of, so we're going to use the SML CAPM method. The RE equals RF plus, now remember, beta can be over on this side, it could be right here. Beta times that, or that times beta. They give us the market risk premium. Whenever they say premium, this 9% is this whole portion of it. It's the expected market return minus the risk-free rate. This whole thing equals 9%. So they've given you that number. So the risk-free rate, 5% plus 9% times beta, and they told you beta is 1.15. So you just go through and figure that out, and that comes out to 15.35%. Okay, so it says what's the cost of debt? That's the next part. So you go through, and they do not tell you, they do tell you it's semi-annual. Okay, so there's $1 billion in bonds. So you know that it's 110%, so it's 1.10 times 1,000 is the current market price. So that's $1,100. You put a negative sign there because it's present value and you want everything to calculate. Since it's semi-annual, there's 15 years left. It's 15 times 2 is 30. The payments, that's just 9%. 9% of $1,000 is 90, but you divide it by 2 since it's semi-annual, you get 45. You know the future value is future value is 1,000. So then you compute IY, which is equal to your cost of debt, your RD. Remember, since we were figuring these out in semi-annual periods, we had 30 of them, that this is going to be an interest rate for a semi-annual period. So we got to multiply times 2, 7.86%. Now they want the after-tax cost of debt. So it says what's the after-tax cost of debt? We've got the 7.86% right here. That's the RD times 1 minus the tax rate. 7.86 times 0.6 basically, because the 1 minus 0.4 is 4.72%. So you've got a 15.35% for equity. After tax debt cost, 4.72. Now you go through and figure out the weighted average. Okay, so it's basically told you up here that it's 50 million shares times $80 for equity, so that's $4 million. It told you that it was $1,100 right now for bonds. It was and there were $1 billion originally, and I forgot some zeros right here, but I've got it correct over here. So 1.1 billion. Okay, just making sure right there. So 1.1 billion. I just left a couple zeros off of here. 000 times 1.1. Okay, so that's 1.1 billion. And then, so our debt plus equity is 4 billion plus 1.1 billion is 5.1 billion. Remember, it's based on the current market prices. And so then you've just figured out the weight. 4 billion over 5.1 is the weight of equity. 1.1 over 5.1 is the weight of debt. You multiply them times their cost of equity and cost of debt with their weighted averages.
and it comes out to 13.05%. So that is Business 342, page 87 of the Workbook Lecture pages.